Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas. And we have a nice guest here today. We're going to talk with Mr. David here. He's a virtual tour owner, I guess you can call him, a digital marketing guy that actually helps with showing properties through virtual tours. We're going to talk with him and his company and what he has to offer. Also, we have Mr. Rick Raines in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rick Raines, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, Las Vegas. Let's get it going.
Yeah, let's get it going,
Take
man.
Take three this way.
Take three, yeah. So what's going on with you, Rick? You got anything else? Anything new going on, buddy?
Hey, this week was a full week. We had my Channel 13 news air on Wednesday.
Nice.
And it ended up being, I thought it ended up being really good. All the feedback I got was positive. Last night, I went on a charity event again for Love Never Fails. We raised $125,000.
Wow.
And tonight, hopefully, I've been invited by Wells Fargo to sit in their booth at the T-Mobile PBR event.
Just a man of the town, Rick.
Dude,
Yeah.
Rick, so, I mean, how did they do this? Did they reach out to you?
Of course.
Okay, so they, I mean, or did you call?
I'm not hunting banks.
Yeah, people contact Rick. He did, yeah.
Rick was dialed close.
I'm not in.
I want to
guys,
go
can I
to
get into yours?
We also have Mr. Brett Jenny. He's back. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Like Rick, I had a really busy week. So a lot of good stuff going on. I met with Cody that we had on last week.
Yeah.
About
Life?
about the builder he works for accepting Bitcoin.
Okay.
So they have a Chinese investor right now who needs to wire over 10 million, and Bitcoin would be a good way to facilitate it. And then we talked about other things and meeting again this week. So hopefully
Excellent.
it's the start of some really, really good things, you know?
Yeah,
So,
you're opening doors, man.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because we're having lunch and I said, okay, well, you know, explain them things. And he goes, okay, what do we need to do next?
Yeah.
I said, well, you need to set me up with an appointment with the person who makes the decisions for your company to do that. He goes, I am that person. What do we do next?
That's definitely the podcast opening doors.
Yeah. And I said, well, who's the person I need to speak to? He goes, I am the person that makes that decision. So what do we do next? I said, I don't know. No one's ever said yes.
How many times were you shut down before this started?
For well over a year, every door I've knocked and everybody I spoke to, no, you know, and so I never actually had someone say yes, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let me think.
Yeah, right.
We'll get it figured out, but it's funny because he's like, what do we do now? I'm like, no one's ever said yes, so I don't.
Hey, I have a similar story on that. When I was working I was management for Toys R Us, and I caught a shoplifter. Well, not a shoplifter. One of the employees was embezzling out of the till, and we just happened to have this female security, corporate security, in our store at the time, and I got the girl to admit it in this closed room, and security standing there, and the chick leaves. I mean, we had her go stand outside, and the security looks at me and goes, "Well, what do I do now?" She never caught anybody in all the years of doing anything. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just so good things, man. And we went through our drive through the summit. Have you ever been through there?
No. I've never been to there.
First house you drive by is Celine Dion's.
Oh, okay.
And then you drive by Knockfee.
Okay.
Knock the energy.
Yeah.
You know what you should do?
Knock
You
the
should
lawyers.
get a shuttle.
Put in a $3 million pool.
I got a good thing here. So start a business, get a shuttle, and you can do like a celebrity tour.
Yeah, man, it's
Right? Go to the summit and do a celebrity tour, right, Brett?
it's man, there was some homes in there, dude.
Yeah. You said that one of them had like a $3 million pool, right?
Yeah, Knockfee. The attorney Knockfee. Yeah, it's like $3 million pool.
And speaking of attorneys, we have an attorney back named Joe Dragon. He's back. He's ready to go with a beard now. What's up, buddy?
You don't like it?
I do like it.
Back with a beard.
I had trimmed and everything.
He's back with a beard.
Back in black.
I mean, he looks like one of those guys, nothing against, but you can be out there like, you know, hunting deer and stuff right now with that hat and everything.
Oh, dude,
Wasn't
you
sure
went
where
back
you're
to
going with
Wisconsin with me right now, you'd have drink spot for you at the bar.
This hat?
Well, the hat and the beard, you look burly like right now, and you look like you're ready to, you know, go out and take care of business.
That's how I handle my business.
Looks like you're ready to go out and kill some shit.
Don't get in the way. No,
That's right.
I'm doing well. I'll get my $3 million pool shortly.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. Trust me.
You gonna be
I'm on like a quarter acre, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You be rubbing elbows with
It's got to go
Naki?
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. When did I meet him? I didn't quite meet him. Yeah, he's an interesting. Harry's mean. People that work for him.
No, actually, this guy said he's one of the nicest people. He's super nice to everybody.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that person was just bitter.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, that's what he said.
Well, listen,
He said he was super nice to everyone.
That guy lost a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been in business long enough to know there's two sides to every story. So
That is very
You know.
true. I've been doing this long enough now, so that
Yeah.
was No, we're just making conversation here. So
yeah,
What
yeah.
can we do? How you guys been? Dan?
Good.
I've been great,
Did you
man.
lose someone on the phone?
No, I'm just
Okay.
doing my deal here. So just
Okay.
listen. He's a
Oh,
multitasker.
he wants us to. That's professional.
Yeah, man. I'm just doing my deal over here, just
I'm
listening
joking.
to you guys, and
I'm joking.
You know, everybody's out. It looks like you guys had some coffee this morning. You guys all look
We did.
pretty
Yeah,
pretty fresh.
Brett has that red line. We've been over this.
Red line,
stuff.
man.
How many cups of coffee you think's in that red line, Brett?
It's outlined in 30 states.
More than one, less than 10.
Look at that thing. That it has like directions. Do not drink the whole bottle. And if you're pregnant, make sure you don't even smell it.
Red line.
Like literally says that on
Dude, I'm gonna do a
the-
commercial.
All right, listen.
Red line.
Let's get to our
That
guest
explains
here,
Brett,
guys. Let's get to our guest. So we
Oh,
have
yeah.
we have
Forgot
a great
you did,
guest
sorry.
here. He's a guy that's he's somebody that's in the world of virtual tour digital marketing, and he's somebody that we want to bring on because we want to talk a lot about what this actually could head to. Right? We don't know this market when we had in COVID and everything was going on. Virtual tours really came out into their own, and people just wanted to get tours from their home. A lot of people don't even do open houses. A lot of them, I mean, there's some that still do, but the transition to doing virtual tours is a big deal right now, and it could be something foreseeable in the future. Is that, you guys would agree?
100%. That's how it's done now.
All right, so we're going to bring on David. His name is David Filippi, and let's go ahead and bring him on really quick. David, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey guys, I'm good. Thank you for letting me in your podcast. So
Yeah.
we
So
we
you're
are in Vegas for last 7 years, and as you said, we do virtual tours, but we just stopped calling them virtual tours a little bit because it's confusing now. Recently, with videos and 3D, people don't really know what virtual tour is anymore. So it's either photos, video, or 3D, because the virtual tours, it used to be like just the photo slideshow, right?
yeah.
So there's some confusion, so we are trying to stay away from that word. But yeah, so in last 7 years, the company grew from just me to 8 photographers and 2 people in the back office, and we have a bunch of editors. So it's about, 18 people working on the business, primarily only in Las Vegas.
So David, look, so everybody wants to know, like, why, how did this all get started as far as virtual tours? Like, did you just come up with this like over last year because of what happened with COVID, or was this thing transitioning from, let's say, previous years, and it's starting to come to, fruition as far as where you're at with the whole process of this business?
No, so I started with photos only about 7 years ago, and the only thing people wanted was sometimes a panorama, like the 360, and then it slowly started trickling when Matterport started doing the 3D cameras. Some people asked for it because they wanted to be like fresh and offer something new for their clients, but we always felt it's more like for the agent to show the owners, hey, I'm doing the 3D and the video, and it was for them, it was a tool how to get the other listings, to show that they are the marketing guys and they can do something more than just photos. So it was more about getting them new clients than showing the house. But with COVID, it really started to be a useful tool for the viewers, right? To see the house actually. So,
Yeah. Where are you, David? Where are you from? Like, where did you get started, and how did you end up here in Vegas?
Yeah, it's a super long story, but basically, I'm from Europe, from Czech Republic.
Okay.
And about 8 years ago, with my wife, we decided, hey, we just turned 30, or I did, and I said, let's go to States and let's just try something new. So we quit our jobs and came here to States, and we started actually totally different business. We started online store with healthy cereal breakfast. So we got money for that kind of startup, and we basically lost all the money in the first year because nobody cared really about the healthy breakfast.
So I got your website up real quick, and I'm just letting everybody know who this is. This is Wild Dog Digital, and just wanted to put this out there so people can understand where what your website is, and find out a little bit about you and find out about what your company offers. Now, a lot of people don't understand that virtual tours are something that we're going to really, I think they're going to really start to use as real estate agents here in Las Vegas and just across the country. And I would say it's still in preliminary stages. Would you say that? I mean, we're just kind of scratching the surface on what this is going to end up. It's going to be a great tool for realtors. And I think a lot of people, and Brett maybe can attest to this, and maybe Rick, is nobody really, I mean, there's people that go out, but now I see a lot of realtors going out, taking video from their phones, taking, video or showing virtual tours from the website, and they're not really going to the house to see it. They're just they just want to stay home. And then after they get into contract, then they go and take a look at the house. Are you kind of seeing the same thing where people are leaning on this particular situation with virtual tours more and using maybe phone data? Just yesterday we were at an open house, or at a house we were looking at, and there was nobody there that was a client. It was the realtor going through the house, viewing it from her phone. And so is that something that you're going to start to see moving forward, where people just don't want to go to houses?
I don't think it would be a good idea to buy a house without seeing it. So I think this kind of realtor walking around with the camera, it would be just for browsing through, like the preliminary research for what kind of homes we want to really see in person. Because, for example, I moved from Vegas to San Diego 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we didn't know the city, we didn't know the neighborhood, right? So we had to come in person, and kind of when you drive around and see homes, you can feel the neighborhood. And so for us, it was important to come in person. I wouldn't buy a house without driving to it, but maybe we could have saved some time if we could see some of the homes virtually, because if you see 3 photos online and you think, okay, this is a nice house, but they don't show the rest. So with the 3D, the virtual tours, you are able to see much more than from just carefully selected couple of photos. So it's a kind of double-edged sword for both agent and the buyer and the seller, because with the 3D you show everything, right? So you cannot hide anything. So,
right. Hey, Dave, I got a question. This is Joe Dragon here. So the other day I was actually kind of starting to get the itch to get a new house. Not totally, you guys don't go crazy. But
so who'd you use?
Coming out.
No. So I'm just
No, it's not like that.
messing around on Zillow. I know everybody gets offended if I use the term Zillow, but I was. And so I pull up some of these houses, and they've got the 3 virtual tours on, right, where you click on the little arrow or whatever. And I think that's cool because I'm just looking at pictures. I have no idea how big, or I have no kind of idea of how big the house actually is or how big the rooms are, right? But I got a question. Why can't you just record a video and use that? Is there an advantage by using the virtual tour, platform versus the just the video?
Well, we do videos as well, but with the video, there is one problem. If you start shooting everything around you, it will get boring. So when we go through a house and we want to make the video interesting, we try to keep it around 2-3 minutes maximum. And that's basically just enough time to show you snippets of the front, inside, backyard. So if we shoot the whole thing, it would be too boring. And there is no control of the by the viewer where they want to look at, right? So they have to wait for you to get in the laundry and get in the master closet or whatever. So that's when the 3D comes in, because you can walk around the house yourself and focus on the areas you care about. So video, I think it's more like a luxurious tool or professional video for the realtor to stand out and show that they can produce some quality marketing material. And but I'm not against realtors walking through the house with their phones. because that they can use it for Instagram or TikTok or whatever, or show it to their like potential buyers. But
Hey,
professional video, they should be short and nice and sweet. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey,
Thank
David,
you.
I got a question for you. I started virtual tours 10, 15 years ago. And when you say 3D, does that mean that you are shooting 360 horizontal and 360 vertical? In other words, I could look straight down on the floor and straight up at the ceiling as well?
So what you are talking about 15 years ago, that was the panorama. That's almost 360 where you could see the ceiling and maybe you missed a square foot or below you where the tripod is. So you are missing just a
See, I figured out a way to shoot the foot straight down as well. And that was one of
yes,
my
you can, but people, I think they don't really care about, missing that 1 square foot. But anyway, the 3D now, the camera we use, it's the Metaport, and there are other cameras. They basically do two things. They do the panorama, they spin around, and they take the 360 degrees horizontally and maybe 350 degrees vertically. So you can see everything around, but they have also distance measuring sensors. It's infrared sensor. So they measure the spatial data and they create a real 3D model. So if you put it in the room, it can build a 3D dollhouse model of the whole space. So
Okay.
it's a little bit different from just connecting panorama, because with the 3D, after it's processed, you can walk around it. You can look at it as a dollhouse, and you can rotate the whole house, up and down.
Understood.
So it's a little bit different. Yeah.
New question. I got a new question, because one of the reasons that I did 360 by 360 was my intent was, are any of your videos, or have you ever heard of people just using that technology, purchasing a property, and then going into the property, and it's not exactly the way it was depicted, and then there's a lawsuit or there's something that ends up negative, where what they saw wasn't actually the way it ended up being. And that's one of the reasons I did 360 by 360, so there wasn't anything that was hidden. And have you run into that? Anybody going that way? Whether it's with 3D or not 3D, they look at whatever's on view, and then it's not exactly, they don't get to see everything. So consequently, they feel cheated or there's a problem.
Yeah, that's a good question, and there is a lot of issues, like where you can a little bit mislead the buyers. Some clients they ask us on the front shot, hey, can you Photoshop the power lines just behind the house? So we say no, because that's like a huge misrepresentation, right? Because people want to see like if there is a huge power station behind the house or something like that. So we don't do that.
Don't shoot the broken windows or the wall falling down.
yeah. So it's more or less
cracked
the
pool.
agent's problem. If basically we as a photographer, we try to educate realtors they shouldn't do it. But if they insist, like, can you fix this hole in the wall? We will fix it next week. Then I will do it, because the responsibility of lying is more on the agent side.
Yeah.
So if I have in written that, hey, you Photoshop this and that, I will do it. But I try to tell them you shouldn't do it, because if you fake the grass, and the grass is not green and they come and it's dead, it can be a problem. So the 3D, it can be also edited. Now the 3D, the Metaport, you can virtual stage it. So
Okay.
this option for like hiding and lying is open even to this new technology. So
Then Joe Dragon gets involved.
Yeah. New question. I got a new question for you. Compared to the past, when say 5 years ago compared to now, what percentage or how has drones impacted what you do, and how many more orders are asking for you to do drone photography?
It's definitely picking up, and most of the time it makes sense to do a drone. So let's say this week I can see that we maybe 15-20% of the homes have drone shots.
Yeah.
But what we have shot, but sometimes people order it just to have the drone, but there is no reason because if it's like a townhouse or if it's like a really tiny house tract without anything around the house, then it doesn't necessarily make sense. So for me, I would do the drone just for homes which have at least, I don't know, quarter acre or are adjacent to a golf course or park. Or
Drone shots
has
look
not-
awesome, though.
Yeah.
You know, they do
Yeah.
like when they're coming out and they do the whole and then keep on going back. It looks awesome.
Do you have one?
Hey, I've got
Yeah, whenever, I mean, for my listings.
David, I got a follow up question on this.
Yep.
So we're talking mostly residential real estate at the moment. Do you see or are you getting any inquiries from attorneys or other legal entities to shoot things for court where things have happened or whatever? Do you get any type of work that way?
We don't market ourselves this way. There might be photographers, for example, with the 3D, they market themselves for or towards insurance companies. So they, for example, do scans of like damaged properties after flooding or fires. We don't go this way, so we basically rely almost 100% on residential real estate. So whatever the realtor brings, we shoot. And so the only court things related are when there is a divorce, right? So sometimes we are in a funny photo shoot with divorcing people. So that's
Have you
Divorce?
done-
Say divorce?
So if you're saying divorce, have you done any entertainers or
Awesome.
anybody that the general public might know? Have you done any homes up in Summit or any of those other areas like that?
yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. So funny, just
Client
recently, as you
confidentiality.
mentioned, one celebrity name, and so we have been in that house and we have done a drone video. So yeah, sometimes we stumble upon somebody famous, but more or less by accident. They don't want to really, tell. Or
Yeah.
David, you have to have a pilot's license, though, don't you, to do drones? I mean, you can't just throw drones out there and just start, flying them around. There's a certain, it even, because I have a drone, right? And it even tells you, like, the aircraft, if it's getting too close to something or if there's another aircraft flying above the air. You actually, if you keep using it on a consistent basis, you have to, in certain areas, you have to have a pilot's license. Is that right?
yes, that's correct. So basically, as a hobbyist, you can fly anywhere except close to the airport. So
Yeah.
you have to be careful about those areas.
Yeah.
But whenever you take any footage for commercial purposes, so even if you put the footage in your podcast video, that's commercial, and you should have a license. So we are, for hire, so we need to have this license because we sell the footage. So we are certified by FAA. You have to go through a test, and then you have a nice card, and you are officially a pilot. So I can call myself a pilot.
So why do you need a pilot license if you're not flying in it? I mean,
Was that the
you're,
legal question?
so do I need my video game license? Sounds like you should have more.
One or
I
the
mean,
other.
like, you need a pilot license, but you're not flying anything. You're not riding in anything. So I don't understand.
This can't be equivalent, the same thing as flying. It's got to be like,
Well, look,
If
your
you
full
want
on
to-
pilot's license?
Hold on,
Hold on.
let him finish.
Sorry.
First,
Yeah, sorry. So I am flying a thing which can be dangerous to civil aviation. So I can hit a plane
Okay.
or a Cessna or somebody training.
Okay.
So that's why we need the license, because we need to understand the rules for the different kind of airspace.
Gotcha.
and the
So
term,
it's
the,
a safety thing. So,
I would,
but let me finish with the drone. There is one more thing. It's actually the most dangerous job or part of the job in our real estate business, because some people, like the civilians, are super annoyed by drones. So I even had a guy shooting with a rifle at the drone in the middle of Henderson. So it's funny thing.
He did
Dude,
what?
that's Vegas. He was shooting his rifle at the drone, bro, in the
Henderson.
middle of Henderson.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure you
What?
can't do that, right?
The big question is, did he hit it?
No, he didn't.
Then you just zoom in on his face and send him to the cop and say, "Gotcha, bitch."
Right.
I actually have the photo of the guy, and I know because he was basically in his swimsuit next to his pool, and he had the rifle in his hand, like towards the drone, and so I know who it was.
Huh.
But I didn't want to get in that conversation, and I just disappeared because it was one of
Easier.
the neighbors of the property we were shooting, and he didn't ask any questions. It was just I started hearing swooshing, the bullets swooshing through the air, so I just disappeared. I'm like,
That's crazy, man.
Here's the question, David. So the question is this: you look at the drone situation. Obviously, it's way different than a video game because you look at it as invasion of privacy, one, and also two, somebody can actually, maybe get hurt by it potentially, right? Because you're flying it around, and if you hit somebody or hit something, I mean, so I think there's a little bit more risk, obviously, with that. But how does this impact the average person out there trying to buy a home? I think that's the question is will these virtual tours actually help the average consumer out there that's looking to buy a home? We know a lot of people travel from state to state, right? They come from all over. Most of our clients that I work with, they're from California, New York, but a lot of people are coming from the South, the Midwest. How does this help the average consumer out there finding a home and then getting them in the process? Because does a real estate agent have to give this opportunity to a consumer out there to look at these properties?
So I think it comes back to what I was saying. Not every house is worth shooting with a drone. So it basically helps if it's a larger property or it has some views. It's just, and it also makes the house feel more luxurious and more special if it has a drone photos, because then the people might see.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what about the virtual tour in itself? Not just the drones. Like we all know the drones are like a one-off. You only probably use a drone for a big high-end type of home that's got a lot of land. Maybe it's a huge home with a pool, and you don't want to you want to show it off, to somebody that's got some real serious money. You're going out and, like you said, buying a townhome or buying a home. That's probably not something you're going to use a drone for typically. But for somebody that's using virtual tour option, right? The virtual tour option that you offer, do you have to go through a real estate agent, or do you just say, hey, I'm gonna contact a company like yours and say, okay, I want to just get pictures of this, and they can hire you?
Yeah, we work for both realtors and homeowners, so we don't really care who we sell it to. But back to your question, so basically Las Vegas is interesting because it has a lot of condos around Strip which are bought by overseas investors or rich guys from China or something. Yeah. So we have done a lot of photos and 3D map reports of the condos in the Martin or in the Weir Towers, where they just bought it sight unseen. They just see the 3D, because from the 3D you can even see the views down the Strip. So
when you have it professionally done like he does, I mean, it's really being able to see a home like you've never been able to see it before.
So yeah, that's my question. Let's say what is the average price point right now? Do you know?
Like 410.
Okay, 410. So, David, let's say you've got a house 410 right there, average price point. And, as far as the consumer using your product, the 3D, how much would that charge? And in your experience, do you have the data that says, yeah, you're going to pump this price up by X amount of dollars by this investment, so it's totally worth it? Like, it's stupid not to use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I have heard about photographers who track the listings, like what was the estimate price before it was listed and after it was listed with their photos, and if it was sold above selling price or above listing price or not. So we don't track those. I don't have a statistic, but there is some online articles that they say it will raise the property value couple dozen thousands of dollars, like maybe for 10 listing it might be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 just having the professional photos done. But it's not only about the photos. The house needs to be staged. There's some more work to be done. So we can come to a house and it can be shot professionally, but if it's not nice and clean, then it wouldn't raise the value in any way, right? So
in essence, you're talking about, using 3D, using staging, using those sorts of things to get more people.
I mean, that's what it's about. Is
right?
I think it would be hard to put a percentage on what you get by professional photos like that in virtual tours versus not. But I can say that your job is to market that house and sell that house for residential example, and you're getting as many eyes as you possibly can on that. And by the sheer volume of getting as many eyes on it, that's what's hopefully going to make the price.
And just that's increasing demand.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Correct.
And the first, I always say this, no matter what you do, your first contact with anybody is very important, right?
Yes.
And if you've got a bunch of listings and you've got a bunch of stuff and you see like a grid stage home with 3D, right, that makes a lot of sense to me because that's something that creates excitement.
That's what I'm saying.
In the
is
consumer's mind.
when you go to a listing where it's together and they have a virtual tour and 3D and all that stuff in drone, I mean, it looks tight. It it forces your eyes to go upon it. You know,
and
that's
we,
what you want.
we do this stuff all the day, but if you have the identical houses, I'm telling you right now, we have identical houses and one's just bare.
And one's got that?
And there's no difference.
Yep.
I'm going to the one with the...
Absolutely.
It just creates a psychological
Absolutely.
effect. So
yeah. Beginning.
One of the advantages
Virtual tour
of doing the 3Ds is we all work with buyers, and a lot of them are hesitant to pull the trigger while they're standing and looking in the property, so on and so forth. And if you have this 3D virtual tour, they're able to go home, talk it out, and still be in the property looking at it from their home to make the final decision to see where their TV is going to be, where they're going to set stuff up, because that's the key. People have to be able to see themselves in the property in order to pull the trigger.
All right, so we're going to end this here real quick, but do you guys have any other questions that you want to ask David here? Because David, I'm going to go ahead and bring your website up. Let's talk a little bit about you. And it looks like you're, I'm assuming this is your wife that's on here. She's the co-founder, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
She just returned from Europe. She has been there for 2 months. So yesterday when you called me for the video test, I wasn't ready for videos. I was in a t-shirt because I was just cleaning the bathroom the whole day.
There you go. You got some nice, elegant pictures on this website, man. So your price is starting out at $89 per listing, right? So you have a lot of realtors that's reaching out to you. Would you say that's majority of the people that are using your services at this time?
Yes, 95% is the realtors. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
our prices, they are based on square footage, so it's not about listing or price or value. It's about size and how much time it takes us. So the majority of the homes are between 1,500 and 3,000 square feet, so that's 129 for photos. And then basically we don't do packages. We want realtors to be able to pick and choose what kind of services they want for the house. So then, besides photos, they can add the videos and the 3Ds and more. Most of those services are based on square footage. So you don't pay a lot for small house, but we don't have a limit how many photos we deliver. Some other competitors.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm putting a virtual tour right here on show here right now that everybody's taking a look at on your website, man. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at
It
this.
does a good job,
So,
man.
hey, David, one of our listeners had a question for you, and they wanted to know whether you actually do the virtuals, if you do virtual staging as well.
So we don't. We have a service we refer our clients to because with the virtual staging, there is a lot of, it's about taste, what kind of furniture they want and what they don't want. So for us, it's too much complication. So we take the photos of empty homes and then we refer agents to another service where they can play with the furniture if they want.
All right, so let's go
Thank
right
you.
into it. All right, let's talk a little bit today, guys, about what we wanted to discuss here with rising prices that are fueling the private label market. Now, we all know that in Las Vegas right now, you have prices that I feel that they're still going up in some areas, but they've also stabilized. Now, Brett, you can attest to this as well, that there's still properties that are over list, but it's really starting to become less. Yet, you're looking at companies, or not companies, but big banks, big corporations, getting more money, mortgage-backed securities and pools of money to start buying into properties that are jumbo price loans. Now, what jumbo is, people have a misconception of what jumbo loans are. Jumbo loans are anything that exceeds that county limit. Everybody's county limit's different. Here, it's 548,250. Now it's going to increase to 625 next year. So
I mean,
548,250. So at 625,000 heading into next year, we all know that that's probably what it's going to be. I don't have confirmation that it's going to be that, but it's a strong indication. What do you think is going to happen? Because a lot of these banks are starting to really organize and structure their portfolio to start buying properties in the jumbo range.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be something we're going to see for the foreseeable future.
I think the regular home buying market is not going to drop, but it's going to even itself out. And then after the next year, I think it'll kind of stay steady and go to a reasonable rate every year. But I think the luxury and the ultra luxury route is going to skyrocket like you've never seen. To me, it's like if you think you've seen Cali money move here, you haven't seen anything yet.
Do you think it's just starting?
I think 30, 40, $50 million homes are going to be regular, not regular, but it's going to be a lot more frequent than you've ever seen. And anything that's 5, 7, 10 million is just going to be going.
So check this out. The other jumbo securitization deals in September with the association loan pools value were undertaken by the following issuers: Wells Fargo, $644 million, Redwood Trust, Rocket Mortgage, Goldman Sachs,
Sure.
Citigroup.
So what
AIG.
they're saying, they're raising all that money to invest in the jumbo loans?
That's right. They're raising it to
Okay.
say, look, the market is shifting towards that type of clientele.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
Is-
and I'm not saying that there's not going to be buyers out there that can't buy a home at $400,000 that start, that average median
those
price.
loans are always going to be there. I mean, that's because they come under Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
But it tells you this is an alarming thing, because if you got that much money, they feel that this market's going to shift to that. Is the average person out there, we always talk about home affordability, is the average person out there going to be able to buy a home, let's say in the next 2 to 3 years?
I don't think $5 million homes selling more frequently than others will have no impact
Yeah,
on a $400,000
no effect on
house.
that, yeah.
Another way to look
further in your
at
career.
it. Another way to look at it is that these people that you just, or these companies that you just listed, are actually behind. They didn't see the prices moving this quickly, and it's taking them time to basically catch up to what the price points are really at. And now they're coming out and saying, "Yeah, we've got the money to finance you at these higher prices."
Maybe it's a blend, and maybe you're right on one part of it, but there's also a blend that you have to reserve the money up front, right? And they're probably thinking next year, going into next year, that's a market that's going to be a big part of
That's
in
what
every
they're
market.
predicting.
It has to
So,
be.
so I think
Yeah.
you're looking at it and going, okay, it's a blend, because you're right. Maybe they didn't count on the fact that these properties would appreciate as fast as they did, and they're like, wow, this is going just bizarre, going crazy. So you look at the markets, and the markets are saying, and the markets dictate what you do. They're obviously confident that this market and all markets are going to continue to appreciate, where I think a lot of people think there's a crash right around the corner.
Well-
and we know, listen, we're not going to bring up the crash thing.
Sure.
Definitely going to increase, because the demand is there. The consumer confidence is still there, even all these things.
Do you
So-
think? Oh, I'm sorry, Rick. Go
So,
ahead.
well, here's another thing that has to do with banks. Banks have to keep a certain liquidity in order to
Correct.
actually be a freaking bank.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that happened back when the bubble happened was that you had all these foreclosures going on. That changes their bank's dynamic as to how much money that they need to keep in reserve as compared to the amount of hard assets that they've got. So here's something very quickly, take 45 seconds. During the pandemic, the banks were estimating that 30% of the mortgages they were holding were going to go into foreclosure during the pandemic.
Right.
Okay.
How many
it
did?
Actually, it
None.
actually ended
not?
up being 8.5% at the end of the pandemic, and right now it's all the way down to 2.2%. So that means that they're not going to be taking on foreclosures. They're not going to have to hold money. That means they can put it into loans, whether it's regular or jumbo. So back when it bubble burst, there was 9.3 million foreclosures. Okay. Right now, there's only 1.2 potential, and of that, 93% of them have at least 10% equity.
I want to say one thing about that, Rick. Sorry, because
Sure.
that
43
market,
seconds, by the way.
that market forced the hand of those banks. Because what happened is the banks all collapsed at the same time. Basically,
Sure.
they all a lot
Dude,
of them
I
did.
sold all those homes. I know
the
exactly
difference
what
is
it did to
this:
the banks.
is if you can methodically know, like, hey, there's an issue and we can all fix it, because banks don't want to foreclose. That's not the
Well,
they lose money.
they eat
They
a
lose
ton of
money.
money.
Big time.
by foreclosure.
Dan, let me tell you this. That's because banks have learned and have a new attitude. But I can tell you, in 2009, 2010, there's all these foreclosures on the market. And we're literally going back to the banks saying, dude, you need to quit foreclosing on the rest of these homes, and you need to work with the sellers to do short sales. And they
that's what they did, though. That's what they ended up doing.
Eventually, but at first, their attitude was, well, they owe us this money. And we would say, okay, we understand they owe you that, but you're not going to get it. And they would respond with, but they owe it to us. And we'd respond back, I know, but you're not going to. And that went on.
What do you mean we?
Hold on, let's listen to Rick real quick.
Realtors, sellers, everyone in general, for about 2 to 3 years. Then banks finally started doing short sales, but it was because of AB 284 that basically forced their hand to do that.
Sure. So the difference is, you're correct, and the difference is right now that just in this last year, homes have appreciated on average about $51,000. So all these people that are behind, instead of them getting foreclosed on, they've got an opportunity to sell.
Yep.
Still a hot market, and they're not going to get foreclosed on. The banks aren't going to be put in the position that they were put in, and consequently, they see the writing on the wall, and they can start putting the money
and that's
into
like
loans.
in this market, because I've had some people, call me in this. Not a ton, 'cause it's not a big thing, but whatever. But I'm like, if you can't make the payments, sell your house.
Yeah.
Because you're going to come out with money. They foreclose, you come out with nothing.
So
that's the,
That's
and you don't get your credit
That's
destroyed.
the difference the way it is now.
Yes.
But you couldn't do that back then, of course.
Because everything was decreasing.
You were
like
up,
this.
So as
yes,
long
it was
as
upside
yeah.
down.
So
but that's what I'm saying. If somebody's getting foreclosed today, like you got to be mentally not with it, because it doesn't
so
make any sense.
what I was trying to tell you is that back in the day, banks basically cut off their own nose to spite their face. They're the ones that did that damage to themselves. Granted, people weren't paying.
It was the type of loans they were making.
But by releasing that many foreclosures, like they did that to themselves. They decreased their own market.
They didn't get a choice because
I know, but they could have handled it differently, which they do have a different attitude now. But it was just so overwhelming to do.
I was talking to my wife it was either yesterday or the day before on this very subject, and what I was explaining to her is that the upper price end, we'll call it coming up to $625 or whatever, people coming in again from the coast, New York, San Francisco, they're going to be able to afford to buy. They probably have businesses that may be internet based, or just as an example, the person that we just had on, David, he lives in California, but the majority of his business is here in Vegas. So those are the types of individuals that are going to be able to buy here. And what's going to happen is that at the lower price points, as things keep going up, people that want to buy are going to have to move to places like I was said, like Georgia, where instead of being at $1.50 a square foot, it's at 90 cents a square foot. And you're going to see people from places like here move to Georgia, Louisiana, and those lower priced areas, while you have New York, Florida, San Francisco moving in here, where to them, it's a discount. It's a discount, and it's still a metropolis.
Yes.
So that's
especially
what
in
I
Vegas,
see
where you still have beautiful weather.
Yeah, but if you grew up here, and this is where I meant to say, there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with it, because it's outside demand.
It's not the Vegas you grew up in.
No.
You the only way that you can keep up with it is, again, if you improve yourself, you start your own business, and you make it. That's how you're going to be able to stay
and
here.
make business decisions that make sense.
Correct.
Or whatever.
Let's move over to Rick here. Rick, what's going on with property management, man? Follow that up.
Wow.
Do you concur?
I agree.
I'll tell you, man.
Basically, just what we went farther again. Again, housing this week from week to week went down over 6% for sales. And in the rentals, we went almost 11% in 1 week.
Wow.
So what I see happening, and what's happened in our offices, we're starting to get more owners call us to evict people, and the evictions are picking up, and they want these people out, and I think that's part of what's expanding the rental market.
So the evictions are starting to increase now, huh? Because now everything's kind of settling in.
Everything's settling in, and and the owners are finally deciding to pull the trigger.
Wow.
Cool.
So what about landlords? I mean, are they starting to kind of come out of this as well? Like, as far as they were not getting paid, everything's kind of settling for them?
Everything is settling for them. I don't think that they're ever going to be made whole from this whole fiasco. Right. But they're settling in, and the people that are sick and tired of it, they're selling. and the people that want to either get in or stay in, they're evicting if they need to evict.
And we're noticing.
Do you have anything else with property management? We're getting off topic here.
Yeah, no,
We're having fun. We're having fun.
guys,
We gotta go. I gotta show a house.
We got things going on. So, you got anything else to say, Rick?
Hey, www.property-mgmt.com and check us out on all the social media, Atlas Group LC.
Brett.
BrettJenny.com. Real simple.
All right, that's it, huh?
And
That's it.
Just
Buy crypto.
Call now.
Buy Bitcoin. Call now.
BrettJenny.com. Call now.
628 firm.
We got www.dragonlawgroup.com. Then check us out on all the social media. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Is there another one? LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. LinkedIn.
Check me on LinkedIn.
And let me say something. Joe's out there now. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the most
Thanks,
real
everyone.
behind-the-scenes information regarding financing and real estate. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Please hit the like button. Show us the support. Please subscribe. We need some more subscribers. We're on our way to 1,000. I think we got 2 last week, so we're really moving quick.
We are smoking.
So you guys,
Do it another 3 years.
it's
We'll
just
be
on
there.
fire right now. You guys have a good rest of your